Welcome back to the Readiness channel. Today is going to start out a series of videos that I'm going to do regarding self and home defense. Specifically, today's video is going to be about how to reinforce the doorways to your home to help prevent your door from easily being kicked in. We've all heard the saying, if I had a dime for every time fill in the blank, I'd be rich. As a retired deputy sheriff and retired sheriff's detective, I can certainly tell you that if I had a dime for every time I've gone to a call where a door's been kicked in, and sometimes people have been victimized violently from just sitting in their own homes during these events, I'd be rich. Unfortunately, the big bad wolf is out there, and he does oftentimes come knocking at your door. We don't know when or where that may occur, but let's do some proactive steps and prevent him from harming you and your family should he come knocking at your door. The entryway doors to many of our homes gives the image of something that's very strong and secure. However, that's a false sense of security. Beyond all the decorative stucco molding and trim molding that goes around these Prehung doors, it's only as strong as its weakest link, and I'm getting ready to show you exactly what that is here in just a second. We all have this idea that our doors are secure once we close them and turn the lock behind us. However, it doesn't take much to force open many of these doors. Here we see the pre-hung door after it's been slid into the rough frame opening. Our weak link that we've identified in our door security is easily identified by the wider light color of the door jamb going around the perimeter of the door between the door and the framing. That 1 inch or less piece of soft wood is what we errantly place all of our safety and confidence in for the security of our family and our very lives in our homes. Contractors will slide this door into that rough opening and use the wood shims that you see around the door here to straighten it up and keep it from racking so that it opens and closes easily. And oftentimes just simple pneumatic brad type nails are shot in through that door jamb to secure it to the framing. This produces a very weak link in our home security. Now let's take a look at this pre-hung door as it's installed in the view that you're used to seeing it in your home. The pre-hung door is the door jamb that we've been talking about is right here. It's where you'll see your lock set plates screwed into in the house. Part of the end of it is exposed here, and then you'll have a decorative piece of trim molding placed over this area here. The problem is right here. This, you can see that this is about, like I say, about 1 inch or less of a very soft type wood. There's paint and stuff in there, but you can see the end of it where the door jamb thickness ends. The thickness of this wood right here from about the screw over to the edge of the door jamb is where all of our security in our home is placed. And it doesn't take much pressure hitting the door this way by either pushing against it or kicking it, that this right here, this wood will just split open and easily allows people to get into your home. Okay, so by now we thoroughly understand the problem, but what are we going to do about it? Today I'm going to install one of these metal reinforcing bars that go over the jamb and use 2.5 to 3 inch case hardened screws that's going to allow us to go through this softwood jamb and screw into the stud. If you remember the shot that we just showed you a minute ago from the door jamb being up close to that stud, that 3 inch screw is going to go through this jamb into that stud and tie this in together, where if somebody's using force to push this way, and this would be the weak link by splitting open before, that pressure is going to be spread out over this steel plate, and coupled with the screws going into the stud, that'll keep people at bay for a long time before they can get into your house. This particular brand is a StrikeMaster model. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. No products were provided me for the making of this video. Okay, as we start installing our plate, one of the things that's real important that you identify is the location of your alarm system's sensor pickup that'll be placed somewhere within the door jamb if you have an alarm system in your home. What you don't want to do is accidentally cover it up with this plate when you install it, thereby disabling your alarm. In my case, I was fortunate that mine is on top of the door, and it looks just kind of like a nail head around device placed in the door jamb at the top. That makes the install easy for me. If it had been placed somewhere over here in the door jamb where I was installing the plate, then I would have simply have marked it and drilled a hole in the plate so that the sensor was able to read to the other end. Okay, I've checked the clearance between the door and the door jamb, and it appears I do have enough clearance for this plate to be mounted without any further work required. I went ahead and marked each location that we need to drill for our screws, and I also took a high-tech center punch tool, also known as a 16 penny nail, and center punched each of these holes so that we're ready to drill. You can see the difference between these screws that are installed by the builder when they installed the door and the screw that we're going to be left with when we're through with the install. And there's going to be quite a bit of difference in strength between these two, and this is what's going to help keep your door from being kicked in. This screw is going to go into the stud versus just this little short screw that was only into the soft door jamb. Okay, I'm going to dip the tips of my screws into a little bit of soap. Even though we pre-drilled these holes, it'll just make it a lot easier and we don't have to fight that. Now you notice I'm not screwing down real tight with the drill. Remember that gap that we showed you earlier between the door jamb and the framing, and shims being placed in there so that they can adjust the squareness of the door. If we run these screws down real hard with the drill, we'll actually pull that door jamb in some areas, and that's not good. We don't want to start bowing our door jamb all over. Once I get all the screws in, I'll take a hand screwdriver and just snug them up and make sure everything, the door shuts correctly and that everything is square and true. Okay, the second part of our install that we have to be concerned about is these short little screws that are the only thing hanging the hinge side of the door into the soft door jamb once again. What we're going to do is go through each hinge and replace at least one screw with our 2.5 inch long case hardened screws. Therefore, we'll have these screws will be going into the studs on both sides of the door. Okay, now it's just simply a matter of running these screws down. We've done the same thing, drilled and applied a little bit of soap. Now I'm leaving that real loose, and I'm going to hand tighten it with the screwdriver, because once again, if you run those down real hard with your drill, you could get your door out of alignment here real easy, and you don't want to do that. So I'm just going to snug it up like that. I've got one in each hinge. Unfortunately, I'm out of screws with this setup here. And that would probably be my only critique of this package that I'm using today, is I would like to see more screws included with it. So tomorrow I'll pick some up at a hardware store, and I'll additionally add a little bit longer screws, at least one, preferably two, on the door side as well. So we'll have 2 and 2 on all 4 hinges. And in doing that, we've greatly strengthened this door. Our Strike Master is installed. We've got the reinforcement of this metal plate over the jamb. We've got 2.5 to 3 inch case hardened screws going into the studs. And for less than $100 and maybe an hour's worth of work, you've just purchased yourself a lot of security and safety and peace of mind for you and your family. The Strike Master Pro model that I purchased comes with this door edge tool. They provide a little template for you to drill the holes, and you basically just mount this on the door itself near the lock set, and that keeps the door from splitting open as well if somebody's trying to kick or force open your door. I think that any of these systems would have some type of a failure point after enough beating or banging with a ram or a big person kicking or pushing on the door. Eventually, I believe the door would break or something would give way. But here's something to think about. Would you rather have just seconds from the time somebody kicks that door in and is entering your home on top of you with a gun or a knife or whatever nefarious intent they have to harm you and your family? Or would you rather have 5, 10, or 15 minutes of somebody beating and banging on the door trying to get in your home, giving you ample time to wake up fully and get ready to rock and address that threat that's coming your way? You know the old saying, when seconds counts, police are only minutes away. This is something that can buy you time to respond to an invader or somebody that would do you and your family harm. You use your own best discretion and consult any experts you may know that can tell you what's best for you and your family to do in your particular circumstances. I'm simply providing entertainment by showing you what I'm doing and sharing my opinions on what I'm going to do at my house to better prepare for these types of incidents. So remember, as always, get ready so that you and your family can succeed and thrive.